Hello everybody, Josh12 back here again with another video, and I'm here with my official review for The Flash Season 2 Episode 21 titled The Runaway Dinosaur. Now, of course, if you haven't seen this episode, please go check it out because this review may contain spoilers. But that being said, let's get into the newest episode of CW's The Flash. Now, going into this episode, I was very fearful for several reasons. Number one, this was supposed to be the setup to the finale episodes, and, you know, episodes like this can really fuck up because it can make you either really anticipated for the finale or just make you not care. And two, we have a special guest director, and that's, of course, Kevin Smith. And even though I've been a fan of Kevin Smith's filmography for many years now, ever since back in the day when he was doing, you know, the whole just Jay and Silent Bob stuff, it's just... I haven't really been a gigantic fan of his recent ventures with film. I think everything that's been post-Red State has just been really iffy with me, and I just haven't really been a big fan of Kevin Smith content, if that makes any sense. However, he is a big fan of the CW's Flash and DC, and, you know, he's raved about the show. He's fanboyed out all over the show. If you've listened to Fat Man on Batman or, you know, checked out his YouTube channel, he's a big fan, so that gave me somewhat of promise. However, if you go back and listen to his comments about superhero stuff, he's never been interested to direct something superhero related, so it just really definitely gave me differing factors and opinions going into the episode, considering, number one, I haven't been a gigantic fan of his content as of late, and second, you know, he's always said that he's never been the one to direct superhero stuff, and yet he's here directing an episode of The Flash. So there was a lot of differing factors going into the episode. However, I can definitely say that Kevin Smith does not fuck this up. He does a pretty good job directing this episode. And I have to say, for a first-time superhero director, if that makes any sense, he directed a pretty solid episode. I mean, this episode was pretty badass. However, it does have his downfalls, which I'll get to in a second. However, the main core of the episode is pretty much Barry stuck in the Speed Force and having to get out. That's pretty much what he goes through in this episode, and it's freaking phenomenal. I wish that was the most, you know, prominent portion of the episode. Granted, it is, at the end of the day, the main, you know, plot line. I just wish it was all the episode. This episode has two differing factors. Number one, you have Barry stuck in the Speed Force. He's trying to get out, he's trying to get his powers, he's trying to understand what he's really doing there. Second, you have Jessie being unconscious, because who fucking knows? Maybe she's affected by the accelerated second explosion, so maybe she has portions of the Speed Force. Who knows? I'm pretty sure she's going to be a speedster by the time we see her again. But regardless of any of that, she's unconscious, so we have to take care of her. And then thirdly, you have Cisco trying to get Barry out of the Speed Force. And then on top of that, you have Gritter coming back, a villain that we saw back in Season 1, coming back. And of course, you know, he's a zombie because... fuck it, who cares? And now he's wreaking havoc over Central City, and Iris and Joe and everybody else has to try and stop him, destroy him, you know, kill him off, and just make sure everything's okay for Barry's return. And that's pretty much what happens in this episode, and granted, most of it is subplots, but I really wish the Gritter stuff was non-existent in this episode. I feel like they just had it just to have some form of meta-human superhero thing going on. But the most compelling thing about the episode is the Barry stuck in the Speed Force thing. I mean, his conversations that he has with everyone involved with the Speed Force, trying to catch this shadowy figure, and ending up at the end of the road with having a conversation with his mother. And I'm already down with that because, you know, Season 1 of The Flash, the main reason that it hooked me up on that show and this whole universe is because of the Nora stuff. I love the fact that the story was all about a boy trying to save his mom. It's a Barry trying to save Nora scenario, and I love that. That's what really got me hooked on the show, and it really made me, you know, cry about the show. I don't cry about TV shows ever, but that show made me cry at the end of the day, and it was awesome. And this episode does the same thing because you have Nora Allen coming back, and you have this conversation between her and Barry, and how he needs to be the Flash again, and you need to learn that you need to let go of people who you lose because it's inevitably going to happen. Tragedy is going to happen. No matter how powerful you are, no matter how fast you get, you can't stop tragedy. It's inevitable, and you have to accept that. And it was so compelling and great and dramatic. I wish that was the whole episode. I feel like that would have been a superior episode if the writers or whoever's in charge of this episode to dedicate their time to Barry in the Speed Force. Completely, it was the best thing. It looked amazing. I feel like cinematography-wise, photography-wise, it was fucking phenomenal. Every single shot looked amazing. It was great. Everything else kind of sucks. Jesse being unconscious, I already made this known. I'm not a big Jesse Quick fan, so who gives a shit? And then on top of that, you have Gritter coming back. Really? Just who cares? I mean, like, he's a zombie. You have to stop a zombie. Come on, it's so easy. Granted, come on, you develop some tech. You're in Star Labs. Develop some kind of ray gun to shoot him in the head and let it be done. Like, why do you need to spread this out throughout an entire episode? Who really gives a damn? I just did not care. However, I will admit that it was really cool to see a cameo by Jason Mewes in the episode regarding the Gritter stuff. So it was cool. Kudos to Kevin Smith getting Jason Mewes in the DC CW universe. I say kudos for that. But as it stands, I could have done without the whole Gritter stuff and the Jesse stuff. It was completely irrelevant. However, at the end of the day, it was a good, solid episode. It's mostly supposed to set up Barry getting his powers back, and of course, the setup towards the finale episodes, which are very soon. So, and of course, that's pretty much where we get to the end of the episode, where we get Zoom. Zoom has acquired an entire army of Earth 2 metahumans to take down Central City. And that's, of course, leading up to the finale of Flash Season 2. And that's pretty much what we get in this episode. It was a good episode. I have to state that I was fearful. I thought this episode was going to suck because I'm not a big fan of Kevin Smith's directing style that he's developed lately with, you know, Tusk and Yoga Hosers and stuff like that. I just haven't been a gigantic fan of that kind of stuff. So I was really like, is he going to do good? Is he going to fuck up? Could he make, like, maybe the worst episode of The Flash Season 2? Like, what could happen with this episode? I mean, yeah, he's a fanboy of DC, and he cried on fucking The Flash Season 1 finale. He posted a freaking YouTube video on that. But because he's a fan, could he have made a good episode? That's the big question. And I feel like he did a good episode. It was a pretty good, awesome, solid episode, and I pretty much loved it. I feel like, yes, you could have kept the Nora Barry stuff completely the main topic of the day, but I understand it's still a CW channel. At the end of the day, it's a CW TV show at the end of the day, so you have to put in some form of action and dramatics on the other side. But yeah, I just feel like as much of a crying moment as it is to see a boy talk to his dead mom, you could have just had it be that. And I understand you should have done other stuff and you had to, but you should have just kept it at that because that was the best part. But with that being said, my final verdict for this episode is a solid 8 out of 10. It was a good, fucking awesome episode. I loved it. Jason Mewes guest starred. He had a little cameo, which was nice. We got to see Barry travel through the Speed Force and actually talk to the Speed Force as it's a freaking person. So that was really cool. And now we got to set up to Team Flash versus Team Zoom for the finale. And if I could get into some speculations, I'm guessing that this season's going to end off somehow similar to Arrow Season 2. Because, spoilers if you haven't seen anything of Arrow, but in Arrow Season 2, Team Arrow had to take down Team Deathstroke, which was Deathstroke, an entire army of Miracruz soldiers. And this is kind of like how they're doing the same thing on The Flash. Like, it's going to be Team Flash versus Team Zoom and all of his metahuman armies. So I'm guessing that's how it's going to play out. I'm pretty sure that more than likely Team Flash will win, but at what cost? Because, you know, at the end of the day, regardless of what hero wins, they have to lose something. Or, you know, maybe not. I mean, this season could end up on a high note. You never know. I mean, Season 1 ended off on a somewhat optimistic yet low point, considering Eddie died and there was a gigantic black hole hovering over the city. So, could Season 2 do the same thing? Like, could we actually beat Zoom but somehow lose someone on Team Flash? Like, I don't know, but at the end of the day, I'm definitely excited, and I want to see what happens. But let me know what you personally think in the comment section below. Shameless plug time. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jonk12. Of course, go to my channel real quick and check out my newest review of Captain America Civil War, which I consider to be the superhero highlight of fucking 2016. It's a freaking amazing movie, and check out my review for it. And of course, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. I hope you guys enjoyed. And this has been Jonk12.